This is Yen Sinal, a professional enologist. He sometimes goes hiking with his girlfriend, sometimes with his dog, and sometimes alone. This is the information we have about a 42 years old man, but we also know something else about him. On August 13, 2012, Yancy got out of work and walked home with an old Subaru, and just 2 minutes later, when he was standing at a red light, a silver Z4 came by him. And as soon as Yancy turned his head towards the Z4 car, he was shot dead with a shotgun. A few of those who were at the scene of the accident ran away as soon as they heard the sound of gunshots, and a few people saw the killer, and even one of them tried to chase him, but he couldn't reach him. It was drawn from the killer's face. After inspecting the scene of the accident, the police wrote in a report that the windows of the victim's car were down and the shooter fired 5 shots from behind the steering wheel. Without lowering the window on the student's side, it's true that the first shot missed, but 4 other bullets hit the victim's temple directly, which indicates that the killer was probably trained. Now Seattle police have footage from a security camera, a sketch of the killer's profile and a silver BMW Z4 with a broken passenger side window to help solve the case. This information was spread throughout the region so that in addition to the officers, the people would also be aware of the details to help solve this case. 2 weeks later, on September 14th, a woman called the police to report a suspicious incident. According to her, it was a painting of the face of a man named Dean Bowman, whose home was less than 10 blocks away from the scene. Everything from the hairstyle to the facial bones matched the painting, but Dean Bowman was the most unlikely suspect in this case. He was a 29-year-old engineering genius who had entered college at 12 and started his own business by 20, and he had many different inventions in his career. In 2007, Dean met a girl named Jennifer Palm, who was a successful and famous dentist, in an educational seminar, and they got married a year later. This is the information we know about Dean Bowman, but we also know something else, and that is that Dean Bowman's car was a silver Z4. The police watched his house for several days, but there was no news of the car until September 21st. When the garage door was slightly open and the police found out that the car had been in the parking lot all this time. The officers immediately got a search warrant for Dean Bowman's house. While Dean and Jennifer were at work, the car was pulled out of the parking lot for future investigation. Now it's time to question and answer the main suspect. The case was Dean Bowman. Dean Bowman was taken to the interrogation room that evening.
So you know this is a police facility and everything's being recorded, okay? Obviously.
The police left the suspect alone in the interrogation room for about 2 hours. This is an old technique, and the goal is for the subject to reach the limit of his tolerance by waiting for a long time. And at that time, with a little effort, he can be made to confess. And of course, it often works. But the story is different here. Here, the suspect kept himself warm by eating snacks and drinks all this time, and was so bold that he told officers that they were wasting his time.
Were you knocking?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So, kind of getting a little annoyed at how long this is taking.
Sorry, it has to take as long as it takes, okay?
Do you want to talk to a lawyer or you want to talk to us first?
Well, I guess I'd like to talk to a lawyer.
Dean soon realized that the presence of a lawyer who knows the law and gives the least amount of information to the investigators is better than a conflict with the detectives. But what he doesn't know is that the investigators have a lot of evidence against him. It wasn't a difficult task. He's completely confident and maintains eye contact, which doesn't give additional information to the investigators and ask for an explanation from the investigators. Now, in the same situation that Dean is being interrogated, his wife is being interrogated in the next room without being in the process. Before we take a look at Jennifer's interrogation, there is one thing that is better to know. According to the people around these two people, in addition to being interested in each other, they were very close to each other, understood each other, and both had high intelligence. Jennifer, like her husband, had asked for a lawyer, but he in turn had an interesting way. He chose to escape from the police. The investigators named the video of Jennifer's interrogation room "I'm Not Sure."
Have you heard of any murders like within a few blocks of your house in the last few weeks?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? It's a yes or no question.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So your honesty right now is paramount.
I understand. I'm not sure what I can tell you.
The paint smell that we're smelling in there.
I'm not sure.
Do you know anything that goes on in your
Jennifer is unaware of two important points. The first point is that the police have already identified Dean Bowman's car, and the second point about the sign is that the officers checked the same sign and realized that the window on the student side of Dean's car had been replaced.
Do you understand how serious this is right now, Jennifer?
I have told you the truth.
Do you remember that the killer shot the victim from behind the steering wheel while the window on the student's side was up? When the police checked the car, they found some broken glass on the side of the seat. The officers who went to the parking lot to move the car mentioned the smell of car paint in their reports. It's known that the rims of the car have changed and turned black. Jennifer may not be aware of the murder plan, but because she went to Portland with her husband after the accident. The story he tells about his trip to Portland is that on September 1st, the day after the accident, he went to Portland with his wife, and just when they were stopping for lunch, their car was stolen, and the reason breaking the car window is the same. Jennifer says that later they went to the car glass shop to change the glass. The police found out that she was hiding something important after inspecting Jennifer's belongings. The receipt from the repair shop and the restaurant showed that they repaired the glass first and then went to the restaurant at around 7 p.m. The next point is about their second trip, which was 3 weeks later, when they decided to go to North Seattle, where he changed the expensive car tires to the cheap model. The situation of Dean and Jennifer in the interrogation room is different. As much as Dean is calm and confident in the interrogation room, Jennifer is anxious in the interrogation room and avoids making eye contact with the policeman, which makes a policeman more suspicious.
Why'd you go to Portland?
It was just a little day trip, a little road trip.
What time of day was the window broken?
We found it in the afternoon.
At approximately what time?
It was right after we ate lunch.
Why did you get new tires?
I'm not sure.
Were the other ones wore out?
I'm not sure.
What if we put you on a polygraph test today?
It seems that this interrogation lasted for 4 hours, and the most important part is where the investigators see Jennifer shaken. That's why they put aside the classic techniques and tricks. This time they try to arouse Jennifer's emotions.
Good person. Don't let him do this to you.
He might be nice to you, but we've gotten tips on him. Why do you think we've been watching your house for the last couple weeks?
And for you to say you don't know, it defies any kind of logic I can ever think of. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm tired of you sitting there playing dumb. You're a smart woman trying to be the good wife and protecting this guy, okay? When he's out friggin' murdering people, okay? This guy died, okay? He bled all over the frickin' streets of Seattle, okay? He's dead. He's got women, he's got a girlfriend, he's got family, and they all frickin' cry every day. We have them in this very same room. This very same room. You're gonna sit in here and protect him? That is sick. That is sick. That is disgusting. And I'm disgusted by it. You need to grow up, lady. You need to grow up. Take a stand.
Cry. I feel like I'm about to, but
Well, then cry and tell us the
I
truth.
cry easily.
Tell us the truth. Tell me the truth right now.
I have told you the truth.
We proved you wrong already. We're going to prove you wrong more.
When the interrogation is over, the agents enter the suspect's house to continue the investigation. The house was almost empty. There was no furniture, no bed, only a mattress and some items were lying on the floor. The only thing that was added to the case as evidence from the house was some guns and some ammunition. Of course, not the 9mm gun that the police were looking for. 4 months later, Dean's first trial was held. The bail they set for his temporary release was about $10 million, a number that couldn't be paid for Dean. As reports show, this boy showed no signs of guilt in court. He didn't show any remorse or fear. And like an interrogation room, he behaved completely calmly as the police investigation continued, leading the police to Dean Bowman's personal computer, which contained all the videos of driving practice and stunts and professional shooting, but one video of a firearms expert. There was something that attracted the attention of the police. This clip is exactly the example of what happened on the day of the incident. Since Dean was trying to go head-to-head according to the instructional video, he didn't even roll down the window on the student's side. With the addition of this video to the rest of the evidence, almost all the questions of this case were answered, except for one question: the motive of the murder. The prosecutor's diagnosis was that Bowman woke up one morning and after all the training and preparation, he told himself that today is the time to do the work, and then he committed this crime to experience a great thrill. That's why he committed this crime in broad daylight. He has done the work so that there are witnesses and a chase happens and he escapes, and finally he had to hide the car and thus raise the level of excitement to the highest possible level. Another part of this case that is interesting is the hundreds of phone calls from Dean Bowman and his wife Jennifer, who according to the investigators have never heard such a conversation from any prisoner. At the same time that these two people were talking, they were on the phone. Case investigators continued the investigation on the accused's computer to gather more evidence. Dean Bowman had a lot of movies and books on his computer about a certain topic, and that topic was murder. In addition, he had a strong interest in James Bond. After hacking into Dean's personal computer, the police discovered that he had gone to his system right after the incident and looked in a folder containing a bunch of books on guns and murder for a book that contained important information about the arrest, such as, for example, how to hide a murder, how to get rid of a gun, and what to do with gunpowder and bullet remains. It seems that reading these materials made the defendant think of destroying the most detailed evidence of the crime. For example, the reason for changing the tires of the car was that he felt that the tire tracks were left on the asphalt at the moment of his escape, and that's why a few days after the accident he changed his tires and applied a black color to the rims of the car to make it look different from before. Although due to the instructions in the guidebook, in the end the instrument of murder, i.e. the gun, was never found, but with the addition of old car tires and videos of shooting and stunt competitions to the case, the police had so much evidence against Dean Bowman that they charged him with the murder of Yancy Knoll. If you pay attention to the change of Bowman's face in the court, you will see a polite 13-year-old student. And it's interesting to know that the change of the accused's face in the court is not an unusual thing. Many accused try to influence the judge's decision by showing an innocent face. Religion in the court to defend himself, he told a new version of the incident and narrated a new story of the incident. Dean Bowman said that he got into a verbal conflict with the victim on the way, and as soon as they reached the red light, Yancey threw a wine bottle at Dean Bowman's car, which hit Dean Bowman directly in the head, and he was afraid that Yancey might have a gun with him. So he took the initiative and shot to save his own life, which means that Dean Bowman was actually saying that I intended to defend myself.
It was just this crazy bad dream, and I was just I was running from a monster. There was sort of a stream of swearing. I think the phrase that caught my attention was, "You better learn how to drive that fancy car, boy, or you're gonna get yourself up." And it was that point when I got wham. Yeah, I would describe it as just like violent hatred that you would I had only seen in the movies.
Did you think it was possibly a gun?
Yeah.
There is a general contradiction in these statements. Firstly, the defendant says that he threw away the wine glass, gun, and other items when he fled the crime scene, while he has a high intelligence and knows that these items help to make the story believable. Then he says that I didn't shoot him with the intention of killing, while you all know that he's a professional shooter and it's unlikely that he would have shot someone 4 times in the temple without aiming.
If I didn't do something right then, I was going to die. I remember opening my eyes, seeing that I had the gun in my hand, and I just dropped the gun and stepped on the gas.
You intentionally shot him?
Yes.
Was it your intent to kill him?
No.
In 3 hearings, the prosecutor rejected all this fake story that Dean Bowman made up with his lawyer over the course of 2 years. Now hearing the phone call between the accused and his wife after the court make the story a little clearer.
Oh, little Snuggles, I am honey, you're my snugsy hot cock, love, 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 you're my upcover on your bunsy hot, and we cuddle, yeah. Yeah, I love you, little sweetheart bunny bun. Seems ridiculous. It is pretty ridiculous. They can't prove premeditation. People actually thought their case was right. It was actually legitimate. I mean, you could take anything that the prosecutor said. I know the statement was, I know, fabricated. Here comes the fact. Yep, that's fabricated. Here comes the detail. Yep, that's inaccurate. I feel like I could be a prosecutor against myself and play a much better job of it. I know, sweetheart. Hey, that's silly. Yep, little pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie. Sugar muffin cake. Sugar muffin cake. Pumpkin pie.
24 hours after this call, a final verdict was issued. In 2014, Dean Bowman was sentenced to 21 years and 1 month in prison without the right to parole. After that, the change in the defendant's face and behaviors is interesting. Jennifer, who was not present at any of the court hearings, changed her name after a while, filed for divorce, and started a new life and ended all the ways leading to her previous relationship with the man she once loved. Thank you for being with me until the end of this video. Please subscribe to the channel and support my videos. We are waiting for your likes and comments about this case.